Today I want to talk about The White Lotus Season 3. So the first thing I want to say about this show is that it is absolutely well directed, well acted. The music is phenomenal. Most of the pacing is really good. And I absolutely loved the first two seasons. So in this season, we go to Thailand and we follow another group of people as they go on vacation and their lives all interact, and that eventually results in multiple confrontations and plot lines that have high stakes and people getting killed or people's entire lives changing in ways that they never would have expected before. So my favorite character in the show, and the main reason I personally was excited for the season, is Rick, which is played by Walton Goggins. I really loved him in Fallout, and that's when he really got on my radar, and now I follow him and I've noticed that he was in everything from when I was a kid, from like Shanghai Noon and a bunch of other stuff. So huge fan of Walter Goggins. Love The Righteous Gemstones. He's great in that too. But as Rick, he has a lot of layers. You can immediately tell he's a very troubled man who has a vendetta that he's in Thailand to try to solve. And as it unravels, you learn a little bit more about why he's here and who the person is that he's trying to confront and possibly kill. But I won't spoil whether or not that actually happens. But he was really well performed all season. Probably one of the best written characters. I often really disliked how he treated his girlfriend for the majority of the show, Chelsea, because he was so mentally wrapped up in this search for this person that did his family wrong in the past. But near the end, he started to get better, and I definitely did not whatsoever expect the ending that he got or that Chelsea got. So it was really fun and really interesting to see them go on this journey as they try to have a relationship, and then for half the show he's just gone and they have their own separate arcs, and then they come back together at the end for this big climax, and it's phenomenal. I'd also like to talk a little bit about Chelsea, who is Rick's much younger girlfriend. She is really funny and really beautiful, and one of my other favorite characters. I think that she adds a lot of heart to the show, and she constantly has this feeling like it's going to work out with her and Rick, and I really love seeing her journey and her try to accept that she might have to find her way without him, and then coming back to how much she does care about him and whether or not that's going to pay off for her in the end. It's really great. I was also really excited to see Jason Isaacs play Timothy in this season, who I've loved since he played Captain Hook in Peter Pan, and as Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter, of course. He plays a super wealthy man who's traveling with his two sons, daughter, and wife, and he's done a lot of shady things corporate-wise in the past to make himself so wealthy, and a lot of his storyline, it focuses on Timothy finding out that the repercussions for his actions have come to bite him. So he has to figure out how to go about the future with a family that is completely dependent on money. And, his son is trying to follow in his footsteps. And his other son is, very, reserved and quiet. But he also, he enjoys the life, but it's not necessarily, like, defining for him. But then, you have the daughter who's, she's used to it, but she really wants to come live in Thailand at a retreat for a year to try to find herself. And then, of course, the mom, she's so rich that all she cares about is money and her family, and she loves their lifestyle and would never change a thing about it. So there's a lot of conflict with them trying to figure out how to navigate as a family with a bunch of complicated issues, from people having attractions to each other to losing financially everything. It's a very interesting storyline. The whole family was spectacular. Like, there's literally not a single bad actor in the entire show. I really loved seeing Patrick Schwarzenegger as Saxon, who is Timothy's oldest son. They do bring back storylines from the first 2 seasons that mostly focuses on Gary/Greg, who was married to Tanya in the second season, and they met in the first season. Both he and Belinda from the first season appear in the third season, and she recognizes him and also knows that he was with Tanya and that she died and he got all of her millions of dollars. So she's under the assumption that he murdered Tanya, and there's a whole storyline with that. It's really fascinating and fun. And in the very beginning of the show, you get this tease that something really bad is going to happen at the end. In the very last half hour of the last episode, you finally see what that was actually about, and it was nothing like I expected. It was so amazing and really fascinating. I was a little disappointed that not all the questions that the show really gives you are answered, but almost everyone does have a very satisfying arc, and I'm definitely glad with those that made it out alive. I know season 4 is going to be amazing, and I really hope that they follow a little bit more of Belinda's story, because after a bunch of life-changing things happen this season, she ends up being able to completely change her life from there on out, and I think that would be a phenomenal place to go for the show. This season is on par with season 2 as well as quality goes. A lot of the times the show does have the issue of feeling a little too paced out. Like, I know this show is sort of an advertisement for the places that it takes place in for the filming, and you very much feel that this season because the show constantly stops to show you parts of the jungle and the wildlife. So if you enjoy those kind of things, it'll be, you know, a nice little breather, but a lot of the times you're just like, please take me back into what's going on. You cut away at literally the worst second when things are finally starting to pick up. And, you know, they do that a lot to keep you on your feet and to kind of drag it out. But if you watch it, you could probably say instead of 8 episodes, you would shrink it down to about 6 if it was without all of the filler shots and stuff like that. But all in all, because it is such a beautiful country, it's definitely worth it to see. And I can't really say I can't really say there's much to complain about in the season. Just that I highly recommend it. And I'm really happy for everybody involved. The whole production was phenomenal. Everybody's acting was on point, like I said. I'm really proud of Walton Goggins and how far he's come in the last couple years. I'm really thankful to the community who has been supporting him and giving him the, you know, enthusiasm and renown to land so many roles lately. And he's just getting bigger and better every year. The man is phenomenal. Anytime you get a chance to see any sort of Walton Goggins production, I recommend it. The man is just, he's a living legend in the making, and it's really nice to be here for that. And everybody else is so good. I would definitely give the standouts to Amy Lou Wood, I think is her name, the girl who played Chelsea. She is by far the heart and soul of this season, in my opinion. And I really liked Natasha Rothwell this season. She was very believable and entertaining as Belinda throughout the whole season, and she really carries the show. I think out of everybody, she definitely deserves to be able to keep doing this, and I hope I get to see her one more time. Point is, the season's great. I love it. I recommend it. Please check it out. Thank you.
He's fucking mental.